Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. So today I'll show you how to calculate quartile, decile and percentile by using formula. So this is our data. Okay. So we have 5 classes with the frequency for each class. Okay, before we calculate the quartile, decile and percentile, we must know each formula. Okay. So for quartile, the notation is QK. Okay, so the formula is QK is equal to LQK plus KN over 4 minus capital F divided by small letter f QK multiply with C, where K is equal to 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so K is depends on the question. For example, the question wants us to calculate the first quartile. So first quartile means we must find Q1. So that means our K is 1. So Q1 is equal to LQ1 plus 1N over 4 minus F divided by FQ1 times C. Okay, so L is the lower class boundary for the quartile class. Okay, K depends on the question, like I said just now. Okay, N is the total frequency, and then for quartile we must divide the formula by 4 because quartile means we divide the data into 4 equal parts minus F. Capital F is the cumulative frequency before quartile class, divide by small letter of f. This one is the frequency of quartile class, and multiply with C. C is the size of class. Okay, so for decile, the formula is quite similar with quartile's formula. Okay, so decile, the notation is D, and then we have K. Okay, so K is from 1 until 9. Okay, depends on the question also. Okay, for example, the question wants us to calculate the 6th decile. So that means K is 6. D6 decile, the 6th decile means D6. So our K is 6 is equal to LDK. So LDK is the lower boundary of the decile class plus K depends on the question, which decile the question wants us to calculate, and then N is the total frequency. Okay, N is the total frequency, and then divide by 10 because decile means we divide the data into 10 equal parts. Okay, and then minus F. Capital F means cumulative frequency before decile class, divide by FDK, small f. So small f is the frequency for decile class, and then times with the size of class. Okay, and the last one is the percentile. Formula for the percentile is also similar with quartile and decile, and the notation is P, K. Okay, K is from 1 until 99. Okay, for example, the question asks us to calculate the 80th percentile. So that means we must find P80. So our K is 80, and then we substitute K is 80. So the formula is the LPK, the lower boundary of percentile class, plus KN, N is the total frequency, and then we divide it by 100. Okay, because percentile means we divide the data into 100 equal parts, and then minus F. Okay, again F is the cumulative frequency before percentile class, divide by FPK. F small f is the frequency for percentile class, and then multiply with c. C is the size of class. Okay, so if you look at these three formulas, okay, quartile, decile, and percentile, the formula are quite similar. Okay, the difference is only the formula here. Okay, either kn over 4 or kn over 10 and kn over 100. Okay, all this depends on either the question wants us to calculate the quartile, the decile, or the percentile. Okay, so the process is the same. Okay, now let's look at our data here. Okay, for example, the question wants us to calculate the first quartile, third quartile, fourth decile, and the 70th percentile. Okay, so for the first question, first quartile, okay, so if we look at this data, we have column for class and then column for frequency. Okay, so to solve or to calculate quartile, decile, and percentile, we must add some columns, okay, at the right. So the first column is for the cumulative frequency. Okay, so for the first row, for the first class, the cumulative frequency is 5. And then for the second class, 5 plus 32 is 37. Okay, and then 37 plus 26 is 63. And then 63 plus 11, 74. And for the last class, 74 plus 6 is equal to 80. Okay, so this is the column for CF, cumulative frequency. Okay, and then to make it easy, okay, we find the class boundary earlier. Okay, so class boundary for each class. Okay, so for the first class, 0.5 until 0.7. So to find class boundary is for the lower class boundary, okay, the lower value plus the upper value before class and then divided by 2. So we have 0.5 plus, okay, the number before 0.5 is 0.4, and then we divide by 2, we get 0.45 until, okay, so 0.7 plus 0.8 divided by 2, we get 0.75. Okay, so for the second class, 0.8 plus 0.7 divided by 2, we get 0.75. And then 1.0 plus 1.1 divided by 2, we get 1.01. Okay, for the third class, 1.01. Okay, 1.1 plus 1.0 divided by 2, 1.01. And then 1.3 plus 1.4 divided by 2, we get 1.35. Okay, and then we repeat the same process for the other class. Okay, so our table is complete now. Okay, so now we can compute the first quartile, third quartile, fourth decile, and 70th percentile. Okay, so for first quartile, the notation is Q1. Okay, so for Q1, okay, we must take the formula for quartile. Okay, So for quartile formula, the formula is Q1. Okay, because our K is 1, first quartile. So Q1 is equal to LQ1 plus 1n over 4 minus F, the cumulative frequency, divided by FQ1 and then multiply with size of class C. So like this the formula. Okay. Okay, so the first thing is we must find what is the value of 1n over 4. Okay, so 1n over 4. Okay, I write here. So 1n over 4 is equal to 1 times n is the total frequency. So our total frequency we can see from the last number of cumulative frequency, which is 80, and then we divide by 4, so we get 20. So after we get 1n plus 4, that means we must see the 20th observation from our cumulative frequency. Okay, so 20 is in which class? Okay, so we can see that 20 lies in this class, class 37. So this is our Q1 class. Okay, Q1 class is the second class. Okay, so now we just focus on the second class only. Okay, so we go back to the formula. Okay, so LQ1, lower boundary for Q1 class. So this is our Q1 class. So the lower boundary is 0.75. So 0.75 and then plus, okay, 1n over 4 we get just now is 20, and then minus with capital F means the cumulative frequency before Q1 class. Okay, so this is our Q1 class. Okay, this is the column for cumulative frequency. So the cumulative frequency before Q1 class is 5. Okay, so 20 minus 5 and then divide by FQ1. So FQ1 means FQ1 means the frequency for Q1 class. So our class is here, so the frequency is 32. Okay, so divide by 32, and then C is the size of class. So size of class is the upper class boundary minus the lower class boundary. So we have 1.05 minus 0.75 is equal to 0.3. Okay, so we calculate. Okay, 20 minus 5, we calculate the value at the back here. Okay, 20 minus 5 and then divide by 32 times 0.3, and then we plus again with 0.75, we get 0.89. So this is our Q1, our first quartile. Okay, now for the third quartile. Okay, so again we must look at the quartiles formula. Okay, oops, sorry. Okay, so we have QK. So now we must find the third quartile. That means our K is 3. So the formula becomes Q3 is equal to LQ3 plus 3n over 4 minus capital F divided by small f Q3 and then times with C. Okay, so this is the formula. Okay, for Q3, third quartile. Okay, so again, same as the first quartile. So we must find 3n over 4 first. Okay, so 3n over 4. Okay, I write here. Okay, so 3 times with the total frequency is 80. Okay, so 3 times 80 and then divide by 4, we get 60. Okay, so 60th observation, we must look at our cumulative frequency. So 60 lies in this class, 60 in this class. Okay, so this is our Q3 class. Okay, so for the formula, LQ3, so lower boundary of Q3 class. So this is our class, the lower boundary is 1.05. Okay, so 1.05 and then plus with 3n over 4, we already get 60 minus the cumulative frequency before Q3 class. So this is our Q3 class, the cumulative B4. Okay, cumulative, this one is Q3 class, but we must write the cumulative frequency B4 Q3 class. That is 37 divided by frequency of Q3 class. Frequency of Q3 class is 26. And then multiply with C. Okay, so our C is 0.3. We already calculate just now. Okay, so 60 minus 37. Okay, 60 minus 37 and then divide by 26 and then multiply with 0.3 and then we add with 1.05, so we get 1.32. Okay, so this is our Q3. Okay, now for the next question is the fourth decile. So that's mean we must find D4, fourth decile. So D4. Okay, so now we must look at the formula for decile. Okay, decile dk. So our k now is 4. D4 is equal to LD4 plus 4n divided by 10 minus capital F divided by small f D4 times with C. Okay, so this is the formula. Okay, so we repeat the same process. So we must find 4n over 10 first. So our n is, so 4n divided by 10. Okay, so 4 times with 80. Then divide by 10, so we get 32. And then, okay, so 32. Okay, we repeat the same process. We look at the cumulative frequency. So 32 lies in this class. Okay, so this is our D4 class. Okay, so for the formula, okay, D4 is equal to L D4. That's mean lower boundary for D4 class. So this one is D4 class. So the lower boundary is 0.75. Okay, so 0.75 and then plus 4n over 10 is 32. And then minus F. Okay, again, F is the cumulative frequency before D4 class. So the value is 5. Divide by the frequency of D4 class. So D4, the frequency is 32. And then times with the size of class. Okay, size of class is 0.3. So we calculate 32 minus 5 divide by 32 and then multiply with 0.3 and then plus again with 0.75, so we get 1.00. So 1.00, or you can just write 1. Okay, so this is our fourth decile or D4. Okay, now for the last question, we must find the 70th percentile. So 70th percentile means we must find the P70. Okay, so we look at the formula for percentile. Okay, formula of PK. Okay, 70th percentile is P70, so that's mean our K is 70 is equal to LP70. Okay, so LP70 plus 70 times n divided by 100 minus capital F, the cumulative frequency, divided by small f P70 times with the size of class C. So this is the formula. Okay, so again we must find 70 times n over 100 first. So 70 times n over 100 is equal to 70 times with our n is 80. Total frequency is 80 divided by 100. So we get 56. Okay, so 56, we look at our cumulative frequency. So 56 lies in this class. Okay, so this is P70 class, our P70 class. Okay, so substitute into the formula. Okay, lower boundary for P70 class. Okay, P70, the lower boundary is 1.05. Okay, lower class boundary plus 70 n over 100 is 56 minus F. Okay, the cumulative frequency before P70 class, so 37, and then divide by, okay, 56 minus 37, and then divide by the frequency of P70 class, which is 26, and then multiply with the size of class is 0.3. So we calculate 56 minus 37 divided by 26, and then multiply with 0.3 plus 1.05, so the answer is 1.27.